Maka, could you tell me what's going on with you and your act up crew? Can you tell me what's going on? I don't really think that act up crew, I call them the act up crew, I don't think they're good for you. But we're going to talk a little bit more about Maka and all that's going on around him with his parents. This is All Things Cheryl coming for you. Do another review and another recap on Queen Sugar Season 3, Episode 6. Title of the episode is Delightfully, Strangely Made. That's an interesting title. I love that title, is because as we get into it, my opening is that I'm talking to you about Maka. And Maka is basically, enjoying his newfound friendship into the fact that he is no longer, going to private school. He's going to basically public school. And while he's in public school, he's beginning to act up. So that's one reason why I call his new friends act up. Now, we have Micah's mother, CHarley, basically dealing with a cheating husband who has been cheating on her throughout the whole marriage. They've been married for a period of like 17, 18 years. And out of that 17, 18 years, Davis has produced a sister for Michael, and Michael doesn't even know or didn't know that he had a sister until last week. He discovered from Davis telling him. And so CHarley is upset, and she rightfully should be upset. She is just like staring at the magazines, listening to all of the gossip, and listening to the Morning Breakfast Club. Charlemagne is getting ready to put the stamp on Davis because he is the donkey of the day. And so Michael comes in and asks his mother if she was going to go to work. And so CHarley tells her, says, look, Mike, we've got to, talk about this issue that's going on. And of course, Michael has been avoiding her. And so we hear the phone rings, and we see that it's Nova. And Nova is basically still in bed. Nova really hasn't gotten herself together, but on the other end, it's her auntie, Violet, who tells her that she needs her. I need your assistance. I need for you to come over. Basically, I'm dealing with my pies, and I'm the only one here, and I need your help. No one else knows how to make the pies the way I do, and you know the recipes, and I need you. So, of course, Nova tries to get out of it, and she tells her auntie, look, I gotta work. And Aunt Vi's like, basically, Aunt Vi is not, and I say, not having it. And so, we see that Aunt Vi and Nova did make it over to Aunt Vi's house. And we see that Aunt Vi and Nova is really having an interesting and conversation about how she basically stumbled upon her gift. She wasn't really aware that she had a gift in baking, but she realized that, the family basically enjoyed it. And so she basically discovered that she was very, very good at baking pies. And she goes on and she talks to Noah about how her and her brother, became very close due to the fact that, they had the farm, and the farm basically made them, very close again. And so Noah goes on and tells her, well, this would, I believe she said, this is good. So she takes out her recorder and she begins to record, some of the conversation that her and her auntie was having while they were making pies. And so one of the dialogue that really got to me is that Aunt Violet realized that she is basically coming into herself as far as understanding that she has a gift and that basically it is her time to make her dreams and aspiration basically come true. And so, but at that same time, Noah was trying to tell Aunt Vi that you have, like, you know, you have a very interesting story, and that especially for Black women, you could tell your story, and that, you know, people will basically, would want to know how are you, you doing all of this. And Noah was like, you doing all of this, the fact that you have lupus and that you are still, you're not letting your illness, distract you from, pursuing your dreams. So and Violet was saying, like, look, I don't want everybody to know that, I have this. I really don't want them to know that, I have lupus. And Nova was like, she wasn't really too keen on the fact that her aunt didn't want her to know that, she didn't want people to know that she's, dealing with an illness. And basically, a lot of Black people, well, a lot of people, period, are, especially Black women, are like that. They really don't want, people to know what's really going on with them. And they always trying to, hold the family up, just hold the family up, put a lot of stress on themselves. But then at the same time, realize that, the work must go on, whatever's, we got to get it done. And so while and Violet and them are having this conversation, she noticed that um, Nova has really been, distracted. And she says, I see that what's going on with you, someone, whoever has your attention, they really got you. And so Nova basically tells her aunt, like, it's very, very complicated. Well, we know that last week that Nova and Remy got a little bit closer with this fishing deal last week. And look, writers, I'm going to tell you, like I told you last week, hell to the no. Hell no. You know, Remy has been texting Nova, really, really trying to, have this conversation about him and her. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't even know what Remy's trying to do. But I do know that Remy, you really get, girl, you're really getting really messy. You're getting messy. Now you You didn't hit it off with CHarley, and now you see that you and Nova, y'all have some similarities. And I'm, sad that it's, I mean, sad what I'm about to say, but it ain't sad. But you know what? You guys could really, really work it out. I mean, it really could, work. But due to the fact that Nova is CHarley's, you know, sister. So, hell to the no. Hell to the no. And so we go on and we see that Ralph Angel is really trying to basically deal with the issue with Blue and Dollar. And Dollar has basically came back into the scene and demanding that she be a part of Blue's life. Now, Dollar and Ralph Angel, you guys must come to some type of conclusion and work this co-parenting out. But due to the fact that Dollar, you did a boomerang, you expect Ralph Angel to, ride the waves and just, like ain't nothing happened and basically things gonna be the same. Like Ralph Angel was telling you last, things ain't the same. Not since he found out that Blue is not his son. And the fact that he's still trying to be responsible, he's still trying to raise a child that is not biologically his. And so Dollar finds out that Blue is acting out again. This time Blue is pushing people off of the slides. And so the teacher basically, Dollar was at school and the teacher basically told Dollar that, Blue has been acting out again, that he did talk to Ralph Angel, but it seems like a solution hasn't worked because Blue is basically acting out again. So it needs to be corrected. And so while Dollar finds all of this information out, she tells the teacher, she says, well, would you let me know or call me when anything else comes up, as far as Blue acting out? And she says, okay. Then we go on and we see that Ralph Angel has basically asked the Vietnamese daughters, I don't know, I think her name is Ty, I'm not quite sure, out on a date. And it was a very nice, casual date during the daytime. They riding, they doing a little bike ride. And this is when we find out a little bit more background about take a nice time, I'm not quite sure, or I'm going to say the Vietnamese daughter, that she left and came back. And she understood that she would eventually become, you know, the operator of the business. And so basically, we find that Ralph Angel and her, they have some similarity. And so Ralph Angel basically let her know that, you know, that he has been incarcerated. And she tells him, yeah, I know that you have been incarcerated. And so, and you don't think I know that you have been incarcerated. And so Ralph Angel tries to say, well, if you don't want to be, if you don't want to talk to me or anything, I would understand that. And so she goes on and tells Ralph Angel, well, I wouldn't be here obviously I'm interested. That's basically why I'm still here. And so it worked out. Ralph Angel gives her a kiss and she enjoys the kiss. And Ralph Angel was like, you know, for the first time, he was basically smiling, refreshing to see Ralph Angel smiling. And so we are back in the kitchen with Nova again. And Violet tells Nova that she actually has an appointment with the gentleman, I think his name was Ross, who is the owner of the supermarket where Aunt Vi's pie is at. So in the meantime, we go on and we see Charlie still dealing with the aspect of finding out that Davis had lied throughout the whole marriage. She decides that she wants to basically take a drive. And so she gets in her car and she begin to drive. And then she runs into per, um she runs into Prosperous. She's driving and she sees these gentlemen who is basically surveying the land, looking at the land. And so she gets out of her car and she goes to, the gentleman. And she realized that this gentleman that is surveying this land, that is looking at this land, is the same gentleman that came by to see Jacob last week. And so she asked the question. She says, "Hi, are you guys from the EPA?" And so the gentleman says, "Well, I don't know anything about the EPA, but if you want to find any more thing out about it, while we're here, you need to basically talk to Jacob because he knows all the information." And remember when I told you, that I think it was last week, and I told you guys that CHarley might have been drunk and everything, and Jacob tried to, get them to they came to let Jacob know what was going on, and Jacob tried to hurry up and get them out of the way, but she caught on to it. And so this is the evidence from the evidence that the fact that Jacob, now we know that, now that we see that they're surveying this land. So CHarley says, do you think I could basically get a business card from you? And so the guy was kind of reluctant in giving her a business card, but he gave it to her. And so, she looks at the business card and, she, puts it in her pocket. And so then this is when we go on and we see that CHarley has basically went over to the investigating lady who's been basically assisting her in finding out information about the Landry and Jacob. And she talks to CHarley and she tells CHarley that, yeah, basically Davis had, he made these mistakes and everything. But she gets on and tells us that the best thing that basically you can do is to get on with your life, and basically you can't forgive and forget, but you need to get on with your life, and you're consuming yourself with all of this that that Davis has done. And so CHarley says that that's not the issue. She says he did it so well that she didn't even see it coming. She had no idea that that he was in this relationship for 13 years and he had a baby while they were married. And she said the problem with this is that she's always coming into people who are not really being authentic, who not, I'm just using that word, who's not really being true, and that's constantly always lying. Now, I've got a red light on the woman who's basically helping her to find out this information about Delandria and about Jacob, because she mentioned the fact that, this is, I don't know exactly how she lost. She says something that had to do with she lost. This is how she lost everything that she had. I guess consuming with, not forgiving and forgetting into getting on with her life. But this is when she told time. She says, I have a little bit more information for you. And so we get into that. And then we see that Aunt Violet has a dinner date. And it's kind of sort of they have invited the Ross have invited Aunt Vi over to dinner to talk about her and to talk about her baking the pies. Basically what it is that the Ross wants to invest in Aunt Violet and her pies. Now here I am. I got another red flag with that, because as they were having this kind of conversation, he was saying, "Well, I could basically see your pies, all over the place, and your face on the pie. I think he called it violet pies or something. I forgot what he said." And this is when Aunt Violet said, You're not talking about putting my face on the, like Aunt Jemima or anything, are you?" And he says, "No, no, no." He says, basically, I want to invest. It's because I can see, your drive, your interest. I can see that, you're really, really, passionate about, your pies. And I want to help you to, further your business. I wanted to invest in it. He tells us that it will be like straight down the middle, will be like 50-50. If you're interested in, becoming a business, if you're interested in us, you know, getting into this adventure with your pies, I could basically get my lawyers, and he could draw up the papers, and, we could get going. And so I mean, I have a red flag on that, because he mentioned that the fact that she would have, the rights to her, the rights to her recipes and stuff like that. I have, I've got a red flag is that it's because when we look at, singers who, they lose their rights to their songs, the royalties, because they don't understand the business of, of music. And that's the basically what I'm thinking about Aunt Violet. She says yes, let's get on with it, but I'm saying that if I had already told Hollywood that she really didn't really know too much about the business, but basically she could learn what's going on with the business. So I'm hoping before she signs any contracts or anything that, she gets a good lawyer and to read the fine print and to read it well, because, when people see a good thing, they want a piece of the rock, especially the colonizers. When they see something good and they think that they can make some money off of it, that's what they're going to do, because they're good at what they do when it comes to making money. Not saying that we're not, but when an opportunity, reveals itself and they think that they can get it, they're definitely going to go for it. And so, prior before that, and Violet had basically told Nova that she really deserved to have love within, her life. And so we know that Nova is basically dealing with Remy. And Remy keeps texting the hell out of her. And so eventually Nova, keep texting her. He just keeps on texting her. So we see that Micah, Micah is basically hanging out with his little friends because one of the young boys who's very smart, who told the mother about the almond milk, invited Micah to come, to hang out, with them after school. And so basically, Michael basically does that. He goes in, he hangs out, with his little act up friends, little revolutionaries. And so basically, they're chilling, listening to music. Basically, Michael is basically taking pictures of the little boy dancing and everything. In the meantime, we see this truck coming up. And what do we see? We see the hillbilly trucks with the Confederate flag on it. And this is when we get this spill. Spill is what you all doing here. Don't you know that this here over here, I think he said something like in the South, this is the white, what is it? White life matters here. And so they went on and said something, and the young lady said something. I don't know exactly. Oh, and then she said, oh, they ain't gonna do anything. And so this is when one of the boys, one of the young men, one of the white men, called the young lady out of her name. And I don't really like that word. He called her a bitch. He called her a bitch, a black bitch. And so basically, Michael said, what you say? And Michael said, yo, wait a minute. I got this. Michael went up and said, what did you say? And that's when he snatched the flag off of their truck. And so they basically snatched the flag and threw the Confederate flag down on the ground. And so that's when they drove off and everything. And then we see that the owner of the land came up and said, "Yo, what you all doing? You all need to leave before I call the cops and everything." And so this is when Michael's friend was saying, "Yo, Mike, you really did that thing. You really did that thing." Now, check this out. Now, when Michael basically checked threw the flag on the ground, and the owner of the land basically chased the kids away, the the camera basically focused on the flag. So we got a nice little view of the Confederate flag down on the ground when Michael had basically snatched off the car and put it on the ground. Now, I'm thinking that this particular incident with Michael snatching that flag, throwing it on the ground, it's going to come back and bite him in the butt again. I think that he and his little act up friend, something is really going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I think that something's really going to happen. So in the meantime, Empire has closed the deal. We see that basically Empire has closed the deal, and we see that CHarley and Nova has came over to the house to kind of talk to CHarley and to be somewhat of a support for CHarley. But basically, CHarley was not really in the mood for it, and she tells Nova, look, you need to basically go ahead on, I'm not really in the mood, so you just go ahead and do your own thing. I don't want to hear what you gotta say. I can't. I really can't. And so this is when CHarley comes in. And we see this is when we see CHarley comes in and we see Michael comes in. Michael comes in and see his mother in the back at a bonfire. When I say a bonfire, she's basically taking all of the magazines that and put them in a little circle because you could see that it was like round, and she was burning them. And she was looked like she was drinking a cup of tea, or I don't know, maybe some hot chocolate or something. And Michael comes in, and basically he didn't say anything to his mother, and he just sits down and he stares into the fire, and both of Micah and CHarley is staring into the fire. So CHarley is basically burning, I guess all of the memories, all of everything that has to do with anything. It's kind of sort of a ritual, because if you take things that, you don't want to deal with it or anything else, you kind of like, you get rid of it, you burn it. And so CHarley and CHarley and Micah was basically doing that in some sense, because Michael just basically sat there, and so did CHarley. And so this is when, everything came to a close. This was very good episode, delicate but strangely made, because that was very delicate, especially with the fact that, and Violet is getting ready to, go into the business, a pie business, and she has a sponsor. Delicate, delicate due to the fact that Micah is dealing with emotions, and he's dealing with his mother, finding out that the type of the things that his mother has done, and then he's finding out that his father has basically lied to him and the mother. So delicate and strangely made. It's a pretty good title. And then we dealing with Nova. Nova and Remy. Nova and Remy, that is very, very delicate. Now, as I'm, recapping, I realize that the fact that I did tap on the fact that Benny and had someone over to the house, and he's messed up. He's lost his place where he no longer has a place to live because he did not obligated the rules and regulations. um Dollar and Ralph Angel basically had a real serious blow up, dealing with, the fact that Ralph Angel has really been dealing with Dollar's inconsistencies, and he's really dealing with the fact that Blue is not his biological son, and that Dollar and him got into it really heavy, and Blue just happened to come in, hearing his mother and father basically, going at it, and as usual, as kids do, they're saying, the Blue says, don't talk to my mother like that, and so he wants to go and stay with his mother, but delicate and strangely made is basically a good title. Is because you're dealing with Dollar and Blue and Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel's finding out that Blue is biologically is not him, and with dealing with Micah, and the fact that his mother has been dealing with his father for 17 years, and finding out that his father has lied throughout the whole marriage, strangely and delicate. And dealing with the fact that Michael himself, is, dealing with a whole environment, and, new friends, new environment, um, racism. So it is, very delicate and strangely made. So, like I said, this is a very good title. and a very good episode. I'm pretty lengthy, so but anyway, this is all things Cheryl coming at you, and I thank you all for those who have subscribed to me, and I would like for you to continue, and would like for you to click the notification, would like for you to become a subscriber. As you know, I have been dealing with the review and recap of Pose, which is a very good show with on FX Network. If you haven't seen it, I would advise you to go in and check it out. It's very, very good, and I can tell you that some that can is also good too. So in the meantime, this is all things Cheryl coming at you. Thank you for subscribing, and happy 4th of July for those of you all who do celebrate 4th of July. But we know the historical history behind the 4th of July. We're not going to get into it, but those of you all who does celebrate, Happy New Year. I mean, Happy 4th of July. And hopefully I will see you on Tuesday because I will be on a mini vacation. Until the next time, peace.